You know what the funny and ironic thing watching this movie made me realize? I pretty much went to all black schools all my life. I went to an HBCU, a historically black college university. Shout out to my alma mater, Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University in Tallahassee, Florida. I went to pretty much all black schools from like third grade up, third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade, sixth grade, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11th, 12th. And then of course I went to an HBCU. I had black teachers, black male teachers, black principals, all of that stuff. Had nothing but black friends growing up. And yet, I don't know how to play spades. Don't cancel. I know like the rules of spades, but I don't know how to, I know how to lowercase play, but I don't know how to capital letters play. Don't cancel me. I'm still black. And welcome to my Safe Gayven, everybody. Thank you guys so much for clicking on this video and joining me for another review here on the Black Gay Comic Geek channel. If this is your first time checking me out and checking out my channel, hey, how's it going? My name is Michael. I call myself the Black Gay Comic Geek, and I always say the things that I love to talk about on my channel has blood, sex, gore, and magic, or any variation of the four. So I like to talk superheroes, I like to talk video games, comic books, action movies, horror movies, sci-fi, fantasy, and of course I like to talk about black representation and queer representation. So if that's something that you're interested in, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Become one of my Safe Gayveneers. Help me grow this channel. Help me get to 8,000 followers, 9,000 followers, 10,000, 11, 12, 13, 14, etc., etc. And you can also help me by hitting the like button. It'll really help with the YouTube algorithm. It'll help get this video out there. It'll help get my channel out there so more people can be recommending my channel, so more eyes can get on my channel, so more people could come and subscribe to the channel and let people know that black queer nerd reviewers matter, and representation matters, and representation equals normalization. I keep having to adjust this mic because the shirt is like super loose. I keep feeling it moving around on me a lot. So if you keep seeing me do this, it's because I feel the mic shifting. But anyway, with that said, we are here to talk non-spoilers for The Blackening. It's a movie that ever since I saw the trailer a couple months ago, I've been excited about. As I've talked about plenty of times on here before, horror is where my nerddom started with horror movies. I am a huge horror fanatic. I loved the Nightmare on Elm Street movies growing up, all of that stuff. I just love horror. And I'm not a horror expert like some people that I know and love and have collaborated with, like Zero on my channel, but at the same time, I do love the horror genre. And so, especially when it comes to black horror, and being that this movie is an all-black cast with a black director and black writers, you know I was in. And so that movie is called The Blackening by Lionsgate Studio. And shout out to Lionsgate Studio. I actually got to see the movie twice. I saw it last month and I went to the red carpet premiere on Tuesday. And so if you guys are following me on Instagram, you got to see the pictures, but I got to hold hands. This hand right here, I got to hold hands with Keke Palmer. I got to take a picture with Keke Palmer. I got to take a picture with one of the actors in this movie who's, his character's name is Dwayne and his real life's name is Dwayne. He actually, and I didn't know this until they did a Q&A after the movie was over. He actually wrote the movie as well, so he's the writer and one of the actors. Who else? I got to meet Sam J from You People, and some other people I got to take and meet and take pictures with. So it was a fun time. Thank you, Lionsgate. But with that said, let's talk about The Blackening, non-spoilers. 7 friends go away for the weekend only to find themselves trapped in a cabin with a killer who has a vendetta. They must pit their street smarts and knowledge of horror movies against the murderer to stay alive. And this movie is directed by Tim Story. Tim Story directed Think Like a Man and Think Like a Man 2. I only saw the first Think Like a Man movie, and I enjoyed Think Like a Man. He also directed Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer. And he also directed all of the Ride Along movies with Ice Cube. I've never seen any of those, but I'm assuming they're good because it's like 3 movies. So somebody saw them. But with that said, like I said, I saw this movie twice and I absolutely love this movie. I definitely see this movie becoming a cult classic. And interestingly enough, this movie, I feel like, pays a lot of homages and reminds me a lot of the original Scary Movie movies. More so like the first 2 Scary Movie movies. Those were like the best ones. But this movie wasn't necessarily a parody of horror like the Scary Movie movies are. This is a horror comedy. So yeah, there are comedy elements, but it's still meant to be taken serious. And it's not meant to parody the horror genre. But because, you know, you have these black people and you got comedy thrown in there in these horror situations, that's kind of what it reminded me of. And a lot of the actors in this movie are comedians. You got Yvonne Ojiro, I think that's her, how you say it. I'm pretty sure I'm butchering her name, but she plays Molly on Insecure. You got, what is that guy's name on Saturday Night Live that used to do the Jay-Z impressions? Why am I drawing a blank? Hold up. Jay Farrell. I don't know why I was drawing a blank. You got Grace Byers, who most people know as Boo Boo Kitty from Empire. You got Senqua Walls, and that man is fine. And then you also got Antoinette Robertson, who played Coco on Dear White People, and some other people that rounded out the cast, Melvin Gregg, etc., etc. And funny enough, even though I'm not gonna seek them out, but I'm very curious to see how the non-black delegation reviews and enjoys this movie, because this movie, even if you couldn't tell from the title, this movie is very black. There are so many black references, black callbacks, black cultural innuendo, like all of it, that if you're not steeped in the culture, you will not understand regarding this movie. It's not to say black people are a monolith. We're not. We all think there's different types of ways to be black and everything like that. But at the same time, watching this movie with a heavily black audience twice, the black hive mind is real. Like, there's so many moments where we reacted the same exact way during certain moments in this movie. We thought the same. We got the same jokes. We got the same references. We were there with the movie as it was going, and we laughed at the same stuff, laughed at the same moments, cheered, made noise. Like, it was so fun. And that's the thing that also made this movie for me, seeing it with the audience that I saw it, and the reactions and the callbacks and the, you know, the screaming. And it was, and again, it was kind of like Scary Movie with why am I drawing I'm drawing a blank on Regina Hall's character. Granted, it wasn't in an annoying, obnoxious, disrespectful way, because there's black people, you know, cutting up in the theater, but then there's black people cutting up in the theater. You're just like, could you shut up? But it wasn't that in the 2 times that I saw it. It was very, you know, respectful and funny and necessary and needed, and it made the movie all that kind of much more better for it. Almost kind of like watching The Quiet Place in the theater, and just how quiet and like soundless the theater is with The Quiet Place. And it just, certain movies are just better experienced in a theater, and this is one of them. And not just that, but this movie was very smart in the sense of, like, you have your stereotypical tropes, like the thug, the gay best friend, the pretty girl that, you know, people love, and, you know, the person that's down bad and no good that people should hate, and the cheater and all that other stuff. But at the same time, this movie does a great job in having those tropes, introducing you to those tropes, and still navigating beyond those tropes so that these characters are more than just caricatures. And that's something that, especially when you see black characters in horror movies or just black characters in general, they don't really get that, you know, room or leg room to stretch and be more than just a character. It's just relegated to simply being the black best friend, or the gay best friend, or just the love interest. Like, even something like Megan Fox. Like, how many times has Megan Fox gonna appear in the movie as just the girlfriend, but she doesn't really get the chance to evolve beyond that. But these characters were more than just that. It was more than just the girlfriend, the funny friend. But they still leaned into those tropes, but still developed more with these characters. And that's something that I really enjoyed. Also, another thing that I loved about this movie is, a lot of times when it comes to horror, and this is something, especially when it comes to black horror, there's a message that they can give you without, like, beating it over your head, or like, don't be a menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood. Message! They can give you a a message without like telling you that this is the message. And because it's through a horror lens, it makes it more palatable for the audience. And I'm not gonna say like overall what the message of this movie is, but it's a true message, and it's something that we as Black folk need to, you know, absorb and take in and realize. Actually, because it's not a spoiler, but the message of the movie, especially would it be called The Blackening, it's basically like there is no one way to be black. So long as you walk through your blackness and be authentically you, then you are being black. Now, there are some exceptions to that, like Candace Owens, Clarence Thomas, etc. We don't claim them. But even still, like, even with that joke, like at the end of the day, they are still black. They're problematic, but they're still black at the end of the day. So there's not one way to be like, even with that, like the joke that I did, like even that like tells me I haven't really gotten the message of the movie, but even still like, we still don't claim them, but at the end of the day, they're still black. But like, I just love the movie. I thought it was smart. I thought it was witty. I thought it was fun. I love the chemistry between all the actors. I love, you know, certain moments where like without beating it over your head, they do address colorism. They do address homophobia. They do address all of that stuff in this movie, especially from a black lens that I really loved. And part of the reason that why I always say representation matters, that's why it's important to have black people not only just in front of the camera, but behind the camera as well. Because like I said, Tim Story directed this movie, a black man. Dwayne Perkins, a black gay man, wrote this movie. So there's a whole bunch of different perspectives and outlooks that you don't generally get in movies because they're not told from certain perspectives. And that's why I also like the character of Dwayne, because as the gay best friend, he got to be more than just the gay best friend. He got to have some level of autonomy. You got to see him be the hero at certain points. You got to see him stand up for himself and advocate for himself and be more than just the person that uplifts his best black girlfriend. No, he was more than just that, and that's something that I appreciated. Now, I wish we got to get a little bit more of his character. I wish we got to learn a little bit more of his backstory and see more of him. But hopefully this movie gets a sequel. Hopefully this movie makes money and we get to see more of these characters. But with that said, I cannot say enough about this movie. I love this movie. I had so much fun with this movie. The writing was smart. They had a lot of callbacks and references to certain parts of the movie that ended up paying off later in the movie. It was witty. And they also had serious moments. It wasn't just straight up comedy. You know, being that it's a horror, it is a little bit bloody. Not as bloody as because I always say things I love, blood, sex, gore, and magic. Obviously, there's no magic. It takes place in the real world, and it wasn't as gory as I wanted, but there's still some blood. There's still some kills in this movie, and I had fun. I can definitely see this movie being a cult classic. I would totally watch this movie again and show it off with other people. And so, yeah, I definitely say The Blackening is totally worth watching it in theaters. Definitely watch it with a packed house, hopefully with a black audience. Hopefully they're not a disrespectful black audience, but definitely go see The Blackening, especially with it being Juneteenth weekend. Let this movie make some money, because I know The Flash is out this weekend. I know Elemental is out this weekend, so it's definitely having some competition, especially being a more indie black movie. But hopefully it makes money so we can get a sequel. So please, please, please go see The Blackening. But with that said, if you've seen The Blackening, what did you think about it? If you haven't seen The Blackening, you are going to see The Blackening. Remember, for this entire month, I will be on the screens for the Newbieverse, so make sure you get to the movie theaters a half hour early. Check me out on the big screen. If you see it, record it, tag me on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all of that stuff. Mostly Instagram, because you can do stories on Instagram, and also on Twitter. So if you see it, record it, tag me. Hopefully Nuvi will have me back, and support your boy. Happy Pride Month. And yeah, let me know all of your thoughts about The Blackening in the comment section below. If this is your first time checking out one of my videos, check out the other videos on my channel. If you like what you see, please subscribe for more. Hit that bell notification button so you're alerted every single time I post a new video. And tell your friends, families, and neighbors about my channel to help me continue to grow. And as always, I will catch you guys next time.